He was what he's going to always be, the king of rock and roll music.
And he was the greatest. He was, you know, Elvis could sing any type of music that he wanted to sing. That's what made him so believable, and that's why he was so great as he was.
I think he's one of the greatest singers there ever was, regardless of his magnitude on stage or whatever. He had the talent to go with it, a huge talent.
See, he was the greatest singer of all time.
What was it about him that made him so great, in your opinion?
Oh, just an electrifying artist, different style. He was good. And you're good, you're good. You don't have to take a back seat to anybody, you know. And Elvis, he never had to take a back seat. He was, when he walked out on stage, he demanded attention.
Jerry, you once told me you had several favorite rock and roll songs, but one of your all-time favorite rock and roll songs was Don't Be Cruel.
Mm-hmm.
And
really?
Why was that, Jerry?
I don't know, I just thought it was one of the greatest songs I ever heard and greatest recordings I ever heard.
You know I can be found sitting home all alone. If you can't come around, at least please telephone.
I mean, he was the innovator. He was the one that started everything rolling. And music as we know it today stems from what Presley did when he changed everything to the beat and the type of music that he was singing and playing.
As far as rock and roll was concerned, I mean, Elvis was definitely, yeah, he was the boss. He was the one that broke open a whole field for a bunch of old cotton field boys like myself.
Elvis came out with a style of his own, and it was very creative. And once he got into it, and you got that feel, Elvis just took off like a late freight. And with Elvis doing this kind of music, gave an injection to black music that no other artist had ever done.
I met him one night. In fact, he introduced himself to me and told me that he enjoyed my music and invited me out to his house. And the thing that was just so fantastic about it was the fact that a superstar would come up to somebody just really starting that really had nothing going for him and would just give you such encouragement and say, hey, I really like what you're doing. I mean, that doesn't happen. You don't see that too much from too many superstars.
He was the master of making people feel as though they knew him, although maybe they never got within a mile of him, but they would feel as though he was their friend and someone they could trust and love. And as I said, I'm no different than anyone else. I was and am a big Elvis Presley fan, and I think of all the many wonderful hours of pleasure he's given all of us.
Many years went by before I had the pleasure of meeting Elvis, but I grew up with him just like everybody else.
There's a lot of great entertainers in the world, but there's just a few, you know, that will come by and just move people without really not having to do nothing.
You can put a lot of people into categories, but the only category you can put him in is legend in his time and legend in our time. And I don't think I could say it any stronger than that.
A live concert, to me, is exciting because of all the electricity that's generated in the crowd and on stage.
Summer of 1969, Elvis returned to the stage, giving his first live show in 9 years at the Las Vegas International Hotel. He did 2 shows a night for 30 days and broke all Vegas attendance records. He became the highest paid performer in the history of show business. Critics from every media in the country agreed that Elvis was the king of entertainment.
Some of my favorite home movies in this special were shot in sort of a dim light, a little bit out of focus. But what does come into very sharp focus is the magnetism of Elvis, the way he related to the audience, the way he moved on stage, the way he actually became a part of his music. There's never been anyone like Elvis, and these films are very important in remembering the life of Elvis Presley.
Oh, see, right. Oh, see what you have done. I see, right. Oh, see what you have done. How you made me love you, won't be back. Yeah, when I say, well, I'm going away, baby. Oh, I won't be back up on. yourself. Pick it, son.
Well, I think the most important thing is the inspiration that I got from a live audience. I was missing that.
Elvis hadn't appeared in New York City since his early television days in the late 50s. Colonel Tom Parker booked Madison Square Garden, and it was the next stop on his tour. Elvis, looking great, was ready for the New York press corps.
Am I going to sit down? First of all, I plead innocent of all charges. Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you, dear. Love you too. Thank you. I don't know.
Elvis, what made you finally decide to come out of seclusion and start making public appearances again?
I just missed it. I missed the closeness of an audience, of a live audience. So just as soon as I got out of the movie contracts, I started to do live performances again.
Here it looks like you no longer have grease in your hair.
No, I stopped using that greasy kid stuff too. Just like everybody else did, man.
You used to criticize so much for your long hair and your gyrations, and it seems so modest now.
Man, I was tame compared to what they do now. Are you kidding? I didn't do anything. We just jiggle, you know.
How do you feel about How do you feel about the way performers act on stage now compared to what you used to do and get criticized for?
Oh, I don't know. I really can't criticize anybody. You know, in the entertainment field, I think there's room for everybody, and I hate to criticize another performer, you know.
Elvis, you look great. What's your secret? How do you stay in such good shape?
I take vitamin E. I was only kidding. I don't know. I just embarrassed myself, man. I don't know, dear. I enjoy the business. I like what I'm doing.
I hear from a lot of people in the press corps that you're really a shy, humble, wonderful human being. Would you agree with that?
Oh, I don't know what makes them think that. You know, this gold belt and the...
No, that's it.
Okay. What are you doing, Hope? No. So am I. That's why I'm sitting down.
How was it he came up with the idea for the white jumpsuits when he opened in Vegas in the late 60s?
Elvis used to have a lot of accents on stage by splitting his pants. His pants were always tight, and he would constantly split his pants open. He wanted something that would be comfortable to wear on stage and still not have as many accents as he has, and that he could do his moves in when he's performing.
Elvis, there's quite an evidence of sartorial splendor. Does this indicate that the...
What? What?
The attire is not one that we're familiar with seeing?
It was taken from a karate suit. just a regular karate type outfit. Are they coming to get me? Is that it?
I mean, does this indicate that with your type dress and everything now that you're changing a little bit of style, perhaps in deference to what you did a few years ago?
I don't know. I think that you'd have to see the show. You know, it's difficult to tell. I don't feel any different. You know. I don't think the dress has that much to do with it. I got the idea from a karate suit because I studied karate for a long time, and I had to make up a couple of suits like it.
What do you do for relaxation? You said you studied
Karate. If you can relax doing this, I don't know.
I think it did come a little bit from a karate outfit because, you know, Elvis was big in karate. He started when he was in the Army in Germany, and up until the time he died, he was an 8th degree black belt.
Elvis Presley's most favorite sport was the sport of karate. And we're going to share a few of those memories with one of his instructors, Master Conry. Master, exactly how interested was Elvis in karate?
He expressed to me many times music and karate is the most important in his life.
Exactly, Conry, how good was Elvis at karate?
He's this, spiritually very, very strong point of the martial art. And he does so many different unique expression about the karate movement. He using lots of eagle stance and then a tiger stance and a cat stance on the stage. And he trying to lots of side kick, front kick. He's really impressed me first time I see him on the stage.
Elvis lived to be on stage. I mean, he's told me that many times. If he lost his voice or he couldn't sing anymore, he says he'd rather not even be on the earth. He says he lived to sing, and he was the happiest of all when he's on that stage for an hour, hour and a half.
Are you doing the thing on my blue suede shoes? Show. Get ready now, go, cat, go, don't you? Still on my blue suede shoes. You doing that thing and lay off of my blue suede shoes. Blue suede shoes. Blue suede shoes. I'm blue suede shoes. Blue suede shoes. You doing that thing and lay off of my blue suede shoes.
One of the most famous stories concerning Elvis was when he decided to meet President Nixon. Longtime friend Jerry Schilling tells the story.
Elvis just kind of pushed us in, said, hey, guys, come on in. So we went in. Elvis introduced us to the president, and I mean, he took over. It was like we were at Graceland, not at the White House. So he said, Mr. President, they would like some of those keychains too that, you know, you get, the president just given Elvis a presidential seal keychain. So the president went over and got that, and he came back and he said, well, you know, they got wives too. He had the president running around the White House, and it was, you know, it was really, there's where I knew that nobody could really say no to Elvis.
And I really should start this conference off by congratulating Elvis, because we will have two new firsts.
The first, new first, involves Elvis as the first performer to do a worldwide live concert via satellite. A real spectacular. And the second is that we will have a worldwide album via satellite. All of this has been made possible by the joint efforts of a lot of people, and especially including Colonel Tom Parker. Elvis, again, my congratulations for this spectacular.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Elvis was the only star that could give a worldwide broadcast, and even the king was astounded.
It's very hard to comprehend it, because in 15 years, it's hard to comprehend that happening, you know. To all the countries all over the world via satellite. It's very difficult to comprehend. But it's my favorite part of the business, is a live concert.
How do you pace yourself?
Sir?
How do you pace yourself?
You mean physically, vocally, or whatever?
So you are up when you need to be up.
I just, I exercise every day. I vocalize every day. I practice if I'm working or not. No. So I just try to stay in shape all the time. Vocally and mentally. And
which is harder?
Well, both are tough, you know. You got to work at them, but I don't mind it, you know. It's worth it.
And one time, shortly before he died, I was upstairs, and we were kind of reminiscing. And he said, Charlie said, look what we've done. He said, who would ever believe a little old guy from Mississippi and a little old guy from Alabama could do a show for the world?
That's beautiful. I think that Elvis felt like, by God, maybe I can't preach. Maybe I can't take people and transfer them into something that will be good for them for a long time. But maybe through my concerts and my records, I can lighten their load just a little bit.
So many things, I guess, have been said, and which is so true about Elvis's generosity and his religiousness, that I'm happy to see more of it brought out instead of a lot of the bad things, you know, and because that's what I remember Elvis for, was all of the happiness that he brought to people.
Well, I think a lot of people don't know that he was a shy person, and that's the reason he surrounded himself with his friends. That's the reason he didn't go out a lot, and I think that all those qualities go into the making of a superstar.
We were in California, and of course my father was diagnosed as having cancer. And I told Elvis about it, and of course it upset Elvis very much. He said, your place is at home with your father and with your mother. And he said, you go to that hospital every day, just like you're working for me, and every Friday you go to Graceland and pick up your paycheck. And don't worry about nothing. And finally, we got to the point to where my father had not spoken a word in like 2 months. Christmas Eve, Elvis himself came up to the hospital and gave my father a pocket watch engraved for Christmas to him from Elvis. And I mean, made the trip up to the hospital itself. And my father rose up and spoke to Elvis. That's the last words he said.
Elvis never hurt anyone, and he helped millions of people. And he might have hurt himself unintentionally.
I'm sure we all change as we grow older, you know, and Elvis couldn't remain a 19-year-old guy that got out of the Army, you know, like, or 21 or whatever, how old he was when he got out.
That's right.
But you just can't live that way forever. That was the image that everybody, I think, wanted to preserve of him. But he got into being an older person. He did more worldly things. He probably had a few drinks, and I don't know what else he did, but I hope he had a good time. That's the main thing, you know.
I think he did.
He deserved it. If ever a guy deserved to have a good time, he did. I don't care what it was.
Are you satisfied with the image you've established?
Well, the image is one thing, and a human being is another, you know. So,
How close does it come? How close does the image come to the man?
It's very hard to live up to an image, I'll put it that way.
See right, I see right.
All right.
But I thought he was a very beautiful, and still is, a very beautiful person, and his memories shall probably forever live on.
And I remember vividly where I was, just as I do when we lost President Kennedy. I bet everyone knows where they were when they heard about Elvis Presley's passing.
The Junior Chamber of Commerce each year chooses the top 10 young men of America. In 1971, Elvis was chosen, and it was the first time in his career after becoming a superstar that he accepted an award in person.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to thank the JCs for electing me as one of the outstanding young men. When I was a child, ladies and gentlemen, I was a dreamer. And I read comic books, and I was the hero of the comic book. I saw movies, and I was the hero in the movie. So every dream that I ever dreamed has come true 100 times. And these gentlemen over here, you see these type of people who care, who are dedicated, you realize that it's not possible that they might be building the kingdom of heaven. It's not too far-fetched in reality. I'd like to say that I learned very early in life that without a song, the day would never end. Without a song, a man ain't got a friend. Without a song, the road would never bend. Without a song. So I'll keep singing a song. Good night. Thank you.
Memories sweeten through the ages just like wine. Quiet thoughts come floating down and settle softly to the ground like all of autumn leaves around my feet. I touch them and they burst apart with sweet